Всем салют, с вами Ликей, и это наше интервью с основателем проекта Венера Жаком Фреско. Мы решили не задавать ему избитых вопросов, которые задают ему на каждом его интервью, на каждой конференции. Это можете на ютубе найти, хотя некоторые баяны мы, конечно, позадавали тоже. А решили еще задать вопросы, которые относятся к нашим выпускам, то есть о сексе, в будущем, о вегетарианстве, об отношении к животным, о будущем после будущего. В общем, все то, что мы уже в выпусках более-менее перемалывали. Но вот интересно, как это вот из серии «Мужик с бородой» скажет, да, вот такой классный мужик. Посмотрим. Какое значение будет иметь секс в будущем?
Sex in the future will be much milder. There'll be very few people that are oversexed. Sex will be accepted as normal, just as going for a walk or whatever it is natural to do. People will have sex, but they won't talk about it. They won't say, gee, I just had sex. They wouldn't be saying, was it good? You know, none of that anymore. So everybody, you won't have to seduce girls. They'll have sex because they want it.
Yes. Костик, мы же с тобой это уже год назад говорили, а? Смотрите вот этот выпуск еще раз. Будет ли человек в будущем эксплуатировать животных ради еды, меха и украшений?
I don't think so. I think they will move toward organic vegetarianism. And I think that will feed more people and be less toxic to the environment.
Двойной yes. Костик, это вообще мы совсем недавно еще в этом выпуске про это говорили. Что будет мотивировать человека в будущем? Сейчас многих мотивируют деньги, и это несчастье.
Most of the incentive will be based on similar values, meaning you put an end to war, fights, arguments, and all that will be obvious as compared to today's society. And people will feel good because they got rid of a lot of the interference factors in language. They will learn to communicate more accurately.
What's the incentive in the future?
The incentive is the accomplishment of the end of arguments and disputes. People will be able to communicate their ideas to other people so that they'll understand them.
What's the incentive if there's no money?
The incentive is the observation of the end of stress between people. That's the incentive. The stress comes to an end and they learn how to communicate and they're satisfied with other people understanding what they mean, not interpreting what they mean.
Какие шаги уже сделаны для развития ресурсоориентированной экономики?
Well, first we have to introduce people to what it is and why it is. And if they understand it, then we can go into more detail.
What have we done so far to introduce a resource-based economy?
We've been doing it all along, answering questions.
What about books, movies, videos?
Yes, we'll use books, movies, videos, diagrams, whatever will help people understand putting it together. It will not be subject to interpretation.
Кто из официальных лиц или государственных структур или знаменитых людей поддерживает проект Венера?
That I can't answer. I think that famous people are victims of culture, just like everybody else.
Что будет после ресурсоориентированной экономики? Все меняется, ничто не статично. Какое будет будущее после будущего?
Well, I think the language will be improved considerably, and there'll be shortcuts in language, explaining systems. In other words, if a person says, what is a resource-based economy? It would go to sharing all the Earth's resources amongst all the different people of the Earth. There is no such thing as priority groups that get advantage.
Мы желаем вам долгих лет жизни, но что будет с проектом Венера, когда вас не станет? Кто его будет продвигать? Хватит ли людям сплоченности?
It depends on how well people understand it, whether it continues along the lines of the Venus Project. For example, the Venus Project must do certain things. So if people ask me, can anybody else take over and do what they want to do? No, the Venus Project must invite all nations to participate in the restoration of the environment as near a natural condition as possible. They must do that. It must be all-inclusive. All the nations, separate nations, have to become one people that agree to take care of the oceans, the atmosphere, and the forests, to restore them. And if they agree to that, then it would be the Venus Project. If they go off in some other direction, where it's exclusive in Canada only, it won't work. It must be international. If anything happens to me, the people that take over will be people that understand the values of the Venus Project and why it does what it does. Why it advocates a given direction, not any direction. Any direction will bring it back to the old problems again. Fights, disagreements, arguments. There's no argument in the fact that all the resources of the earth belong to everybody. That's real clear. They can't alter that. And all of the nations will eventually evolve a language that's not subject to interpretation. That's absolutely necessary. Well, they will appear to be listening to other people and paying attention to them instead of arguing. They will learn how to share ideas and ask a person how much they know about electricity. If they know little about it, then one well-informed in electricity will deliver information. And then when a person says, what about climate and climate change? There'll be people that are climatologists that will talk to people about climate and climate change, how it works, and how it affects the growth of food, and all that sort of thing. What I'd like to see, I would like to see groups of people read the book, The Best That Money Can't Buy, at meetings, chapter by chapter, so that people understand each chapter. So they discuss it up and back. I'd like to see that as the instruction manual for understanding the Venus Project. And those that understand it best will tell them by reinterpreting what they don't understand to something they do understand.
Спасибо за ответы. Проект Венера, проект Коза будем делать.
With the Venus Project, we can do it. We can put an end to conflict, fights, verbal disagreements.
Ну вот, парни, сделали интервью с Жаком Фреско, умный человек, наш современник. То есть это то же самое, что там века назад взять интервью там, у Ницше или у Теслы, да, и все такое. Мы, конечно, с Костиком дико рады, что наконец-то вот пообщались с ним и рассказали вам про проект Венера и все такое. Ну, все остальное в наших руках, будущее в наших руках. Чувствуйте будущее, хватит спорить, хватит ругаться, сразу свое мнение выражать. Давайте выслушивать друг друга и понимать. Вот это самое главное, понимать. Тогда у нас в будущем все будет хорошо. Свободный ум.